Good evening, Mission Control. Well, tonight we're going to continue in the flashback series, and we're going to go over the construction of the building. This was quite the interesting project to be able to put together, I guess I should say, because I looked at a lot of different structures. We needed 12 vertical feet of space for our grow lanes so that we can get enough vertical growing area to make the dollars and cents work out. Said differently, in order for us to make money, we need a lot of vertical space. And we also had requirements that it can withstand some pretty significant weather and not have to replace the plastic or the covering of it every single year. So I looked at actual solid buildings, stick-built buildings, and kind of the good and the bad of that. Obviously, very, very strong, very good insulation values, very expensive, relatively speaking. Lots of permits required, which means more time, more money, more effort. All those things are in short supply. So that quickly, no see-through top. And while we have chosen a building that is semi-transparent and we still have to use LED lights, that light coming through really does make a difference. Doing anything more creative on a solid structure like a retractable roof just means more electricity, more moving parts, more money, more complexity, more time, and that kind of basically shot the stick-built building out of the way. Metal building, kind of the same thing, get them put up quickly, but basically no insulation factor whatsoever, and still a lot of money and permits required. So that puts us squarely in the greenhouse type of building or temporary tent structure. Temporary tent structure. So I looked at greenhouses, and the only problem I really had with greenhouses, two problems. One, the ones I could afford were too short. You couldn't get 4 grow lanes in there at 12 feet each. Or anywhere close to that, really. And the ones that could do that are very expensive, would take the entire budget that we had, expensive. So that one kind of went off the table. And then I came across the fabric-covered buildings, and those really just ended up kind of being the thing that they were strong, they were easy to put up, didn't require permits, they're like a greenhouse, but they don't have that clear plastic cover, which means they do not let as much light through. And that's good and bad. In the summertime, it means it's actually really cooler inside of our building than it is outside of the building. So anyway, I'll talk some more about it after we go through the actual build. I'd like to talk to you about how much it costs, why we went with the one that we had, and all those types of things. But let's get through the build first and come back to that. So here we go. So this was fun. I went to go pick up the building, which is in the green box. There's actually another one on the other side. And yeah, they didn't really give me good, clear instructions on how big it was. So we got it to fit on this trailer, but not after I blew a tire out because the sidewall collapsed on me. Anyway, good lesson learned there. But we got it here, safe and sound from the port. It did come from China. It's a SUIHE shelters, SUI shelters, I think is how you say it. I initially found it on Ritchie Brothers, but then contacted the supplier directly and had them ship a custom one here. And it was actually very affordable. After import taxes, it was only about, I think it was less than $15,000, closer to 10. Anyway, we had to rent a lift in order to put it all up. So here we got the man lift. And this is Legos. Legos for adults. Oh my goodness, there were so many pieces. It was so overwhelming. Just like how they built Rome one brick at a time, we sat there, followed the instructions, and laid everything out. It was labeled fairly well. Some of them we had a guess on, but we did get it all set out. And then we inspector there, the dog, is making sure everyone's doing their job here. We had some great friends come over and give us a hand with this. Thank you. Really appreciate everything you guys did for us. We set all the parts out on the ground, and then we started assembling each of the individual structures. So here we are. Actually, the metal is galvanized steel. It's actually pretty easy to work with, good quality. So what we were doing is attaching it with ropes and chains to the man lift here, and then we lifted it up. It was easy for the man lift to carry it. And then we had the pivot points on the bottom. So here you can get some scale. That's 22 feet from the bottom up to the top. The first one's the most important one. When you put it in, you want to make sure it's straight. So we had rope tie-offs and everything and levels, trying to get everything set up right. And then you get the second structure, the second one put up, and you connect it all and it starts to support itself. But we kept ropes on it, I think until we're about midway through. Just kind of some scale there. You can see way in the distance the building starting to show up. I had to take a few days off of work to come out here and put it all up. Oh, here you can actually see the solar panels. We actually had a big work party. Thank you, everybody. You know who you are. We really, really appreciate all your help. Oh, yeah. Whew, it was a long way up there. I don't like heights. That was a good shot from the bucket. Anyway, here we are climbing up, securing the cross members, getting everything all put together. Yeah, it is a big building. Seeing it, I've seen it so long with the skin on, you forget about this. So it's kind of fun to go back, see it all get put together. Yeah, that took us quite some time to get this thing going. You think it's just going to go quickly, but we actually had to put it up, take it down, put it up, take it down. I think it was about 4 times we had to do. One of them, the instructions were not very clear. And we eventually figured it out. And here we are. Yeah, just you just slowly slog through this whole thing, getting each of those sections put up. Just kind of keeps growing and growing and growing, getting bigger and bigger. It's neat to see it all come together. It was fun, every night to sit there and look at it and be like, oh, I did that. Yeah, here's a picture from up on the top. You can see the grow lanes, the fish tanks going down into the ground there. So much clearer when you can see it this way, isn't it? Rather than just walking around in the building right now. It is a big, big structure. So yeah, we needed a building this big. Oh, I love this picture. We needed a building this big because we need 4 grow lanes, and at least 2 of them have to be 12 feet tall, and we can get away with the other ones being slightly less than 12 feet, but they still have to be at least double-decker as far as shelving goes. So this structure is the one that I could find that we could afford, and it would actually work. In between, what you're looking at here, in between each of the sections here, you have to have cables. Those cables came in the kit, and here I am. Once we got it all put up, the lift and everything, we had to return it. You just can't keep running it. So the old extension ladder, let me tell you, that was very much unfun. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the doors in now at each of the ends. I got to lift each of those vertical sections there to the left and right of the ladder. You can see them going vertical. Lifted those into place, and then I had to secure them. And then you have cross members that come from the top and go across. So we have to get those put in. Excuse me. I hate being up on a ladder like that. My hands were so sweaty. My hands are starting to sweat right now just remembering it. I really did not enjoy being up there at all. But when you have to do it, you just have to do it. So here we go. We've got the cross members on there. Everything is set up on one end, so we get to go do it on the other end now. And voila, through the magic of editing, the other end is done. That was so not fun. There's a nice view from the inside. The whole structure is in place. It really is quite fascinating and beautiful if you look at it. Just a really nice structure and really pretty. The ends. So you got to go up there and you got to sew those ends on. And what I mean by sew is you got about 1/4 inch rope, and you got to go through all the grommets and go out and around and out and around and out and around through the grommet and around the post, and you got to do that all the way around it in order to secure it. And then you have to do it all the way around the inside of that door there too, the square door. You got to go all the way around that with rope. So it's kind of a pain, but there's both ends on right there. That took a long time, lots of patience to put that together. You're just sitting there and you're like, is this ever going to be done? Sometimes you wonder. Nice view there. All the solar panels are on. Mrs. Martian and Mrs. Wrangler Star, Mr. Wrangler Star family and friends, thanks for all your help. and now we're skinning the building. And let me tell you, their instructions sucked. They did not clearly explain how to skin this building and where you could attach to. So hindsight being 2020, I would have done it a lot differently. But we ended up using a come along and a water bottle and a lot of rope. We took the water bottle and we wrapped the fabric around it so that we could tie a rope around that and have a solid point and not actually rip the fabric, and it worked. And then we hooked a come along to that, and then we had ropes all the way along the entire edge of this, and neighbors came over with their friends. I think their friends were very shocked when they came over and we asked for help, but thanks to them we were able to get it skinned. And then you just got to start securing everything on the inside, which took some time. You have to ratchet everything down. In the building itself, really, it really isn't that complicated. And if we would have known what we were doing, it would have gone up so much faster. So I actually really think that these structures are really nice. I'd definitely put another one in. The only issue we have, of course, if you've been following The Real Martian, is the insulation value inside. In the summer, it was great. It was 110 degrees outside, but it wasn't 110 degrees inside that tent. And that's thanks to the fact it's a specific color. And some of you, if you're watching this at school, you know who you are. I hope your teacher's okay with it. Then you know or will learn that white reflects light. And that also ends up reflecting some heat. So because we have this semi-translucent, you can almost see through it, but not really, skin on the building, it actually reflects heat in the summertime, which is great, but in the wintertime it's not great. So it's a double-edged sword. And in the summertime, greenhouses have the opposite problem. They're, really hot, well over 160 degrees Fahrenheit inside, way too hot to grow things. So they have to have ventilation, and then they have to have heating in the winter as well, but less than what we do. So we, on the other hand, have to have lots of heating and less cooling. So it really is a double-edged sword. It's it's a true engineering problem. There's no right or wrong answer, just a whole bunch of really wrong answers. Anyway, so there it is. We got the building up. It's skinned. Now let's talk about it in detail. That was a lot of hard work, and again, I can't express our thanks here, Mrs. Martian and I, how grateful we are to everyone who came and helped us out. That was a lot of hard work. We got the solar panels put up, and we got the building put up in just a few days. It took me almost like 2 weeks to actually get everything really tidied up and bolted down, ratcheted down, and everything nice and snug. But in just a few days, we were able to get this all up. So we started off, I want to talk about why we chose this. Cost, no matter how you get to it, there's only so much money, and we had to make our money go as far as possible. So I looked at greenhouses, and I saw that small greenhouses were like $15,000 for the kit. I found this, and it was $10,000, and then you add, I think it was like $2,000 for import fees that you have to pay when you pick it up, pay to old Uncle Sam. You end up coming out ahead, and it's a lot bigger. But again, I'm not saying that that's not without some cost. Greenhouses can stay warmer in the wintertime than our building can, and that's a pretty big problem. So in the summertime, though, greenhouses get way too hot and need to spend a lot of electricity, ventilation, and all that. So, do the scales tip one way or the other? This one's kind of balanced. I think there's almost equal goods and bads for both ways of doing things. We chose this way, and I'm pretty happy with the choice that we made. I would love to actually buy a few more of these buildings just to actually put up for hay storage, equipment storage. We can even do a riding arena, which you saw in the picture there. We actually built a little corral there, a little riding arena. I could easily put one of those buildings over the top of it, and we could ride our horses all year round. I could store extra hay in there. I could put vehicles in there and do maintenance. Those buildings actually are pretty slick, so I think I've talked myself into these are good options. Because they are tents, they're non-permanent structure. You can put them up, you can take them down if you make a mistake, if you want to move. It's kind of a pain, but if you had to, you could, unlike a stick-built building. Once it's there, foundation is poured. It is secured with about 3-foot-long tent stakes to go way down in the ground, 3 feet down in the ground. Isn't it funny how sometimes when you're talking, your brain and your mouth kind of shout out stuff, but that's not really what you mean? To think before you speak. Someone smart once said that. Uh, anyway, so yeah, chose to go with this particular type of covering or type of building, and then I started searching. And in the United States, you can get this building. The best I could find it, looking at all the websites, was about $25,000 delivered to your house. They sell the building, and then you got to buy each of the ends together. And if you want a door, that's all custom, and that just drives up the price. So sadly, I was not able to buy American. I would have loved to have and supported our local economy. However, you know what? I supported the global economy on this one, and we went to China. And there's a story there. I am actually finding that the customer service in China is what customer service in the United States used to be like. I think a lot of people in the United States are starting to get to the point where they think they deserve everything. And I worked in retail where you had to work your butt off. You had to earn commission. And you treated those customers like what they were, people who were going to help you survive, who were going to give you a paycheck. But here in America, now it's like you call people on the internet, on a website, or you go to a store, and it's kind of like, hey, stop bugging me. I hate that. It's a pet peeve. I totally hate it. Anyway, sorry for the soapbox, but I really see that happening, and I really dislike it. One of these videos, I'll tell you a story about why Verizon sucks. If you're interested, thumbs up this video and let me know in the comments, because I've got a humdinger of a story. Anyway, so I emailed, and didn't call over there. Emailed them. They were very helpful. I asked if I could get some customization done. They got it all done correctly. They converted imperial units to metric. We made sure everything was correct. Actually, the only thing that went wrong out of the entire transaction is that I asked for a one-man door, and they sent me two. And all the parts that go with it, but no extra cost. So that's kind of their mistake, but it all worked out for me. So now when I get my next building, I don't need to get another door. I already have one. But I can't say enough, their customer service is very, very good. They helped me out through the entire process. You have to send money over there. You have to wire it from your bank. You can't use your credit card or anything like that. So I had to learn how to do that, but got it all here, got it all set up. And like I said, really the only problem I have so far with this building is the insulation factor. So anyway, there's the story of the building build. That's kind of cool, the building build. And I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any questions that you guys have and I can help out, if you're in a similar situation, shoot me an email. The link is up at the top of the screen. If you like watching this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you like. And if you want to get notifications of when I publish a video, hit that little bell to the left of the subscribe button and you'll get notified. In the meantime, this is The Real Martian. Out.